In this season, we show you some of the hottest design hotels from around America and abroad. From cool urban retreats to luxurious country estate living. This is a design travel show like no other. Welcome to Hotels by Design. Our ByDesign team of industry experts have done the hard work for you, so you can choose your next design vacation destination.
Architecture has a very strong role to play in the experience of travel. We travel to be transported to another land, to another culture, to another people, to another landscape. And the hotels that we're seeing in these episodes are really, really rooted in place and grounds you in a location.
Let's get started with our first design hotel. We're about halfway along the Florida Keys, and I'm heading out to Little Palm Island, a very special place that not a lot of people get to see. This is a holiday destination for the discerning. And the name of this wonderful old boat gives you some idea of the caliber of the guests.
Hi, Mike. Welcome to Little Palm Island.
Thank you. Alicia, I love your work. I cannot believe you got us onto the island.
Well, this is a place known for privacy and anonymity, but I was able to secure you a really beautiful suite.
I was reading the briefing notes, and we're absolutely not allowed to film anybody on the island.
No, this is the United States' only private island resort, so guests really come here to escape the spotlight.
Come on, Alicia, cough it up. You must be able to tell me somebody that's staying here.
I can't, but I can give you a hint. You may see them on the red carpet or the big screen.
Okay, this is going to be one interesting shoot. Now, Alicia, I want to talk about the H word.
Yes, the hurricane, Hurricane Irma.
Yeah, that came through here a few years ago.
It certainly did, and as you can imagine, it was an incredibly challenging time, not only for our island family, but the Greater Keys community.
Yeah, I bet. How did the island fare?
Well, believe it or not, the 15 thatched roof bungalows actually survived intact. So
wow.
That was an enormous relief. Other parts of the island weren't so fortunate, and so it gave us the opportunity to rebuild. We have some very loyal guests who have been visiting the island for over 30 years. And of course, they wanted things to stay the same. But like anything, there were some, evolutions that needed to happen to the design and to some of the key elements of the property. And I think we were able to do a really great job of balancing between what was and what is now. And I would love to show you.
Okay, before you do, look at this. Talking about balancing and challenges. Look how our camera guy is filming here.
Very skilled.
Walking backwards on a skinny pier. I mean, what could possibly go wrong?
I can think of a few things. This space is an element of the redesign. This is essentially a rebuild, and this is called the Great Room.
Okay, kind of like a gathering space.
Exactly. So way back when the property was nothing more than a modest fishing camp, folks would gather in the Great Room, and we're talking about titans of industry, dignitaries, and even the Hollywood elite.
Okay, now I'm going to guess that that's where this guy fits in.
You nailed it. Harry Truman, the 33rd president. He used to come down with his friends. They would smoke cigars, drink rum, maybe play a game of poker.
Now, Alicia, I've read that during the redesign and rebuild, you went with three main themes.
You're spot on. So the first of which was the era of the 33rd president. So hearkening back to when Truman was president in the 40s and 50s. And so what we did as part of the design element is pulled through some of those antiquities, some of the fishing pieces like the lures and hooks, classic records, an homage to that time period.
Yeah, come to think of it, Alicia, I've seen it around the resort generally.
Yeah, and you'll notice it too downstairs in the monkey hut. And we affectionately refer to that space as the resort's living room. It's where guests really like to gather. The other two design elements are British West Indies and flora and fauna, which really play out magnificently in this island premier suite. You'll notice things like heirloom rugs, brass fixtures, and vintage lampshades, which truly invoke a bygone era and gives it a real sense of place.
Yeah, and I guess that makes sense. The Caribbean is right over there.
Truly, right on our doorstep. And so that leads into the third part, the flora and fauna. So you'll notice that there's a really neutral tonality to the space. We wanted to give guests a sense of indoor-outdoor living.
Alicia, I really love those shadow boxes.
They're so special. So what we did with those is we brought in design elements like seashells, starfish, antique compasses, all with the goal of creating a sense of adventure. Yeah. Because ultimately at Little Palm, we want guests to get lost. This is our new two-story spa. We used to have a different spa offering. The hurricane gave us an opportunity to build something truly magnificent, much larger, and really special. And so you'll notice that while the rest of the resort sort of leans into the Caribbean, West Indies feel, in this space, we wanted guests to feel like they were transported to a Balinese jungle.
Yes, I see that. But the question is, those loyal followers, those guests who don't want things to change, what are they saying?
Fortunately, they love it. In fact, the spa stays booked up year-round. We've even noticed that we're attracting new guests who want to come here to have a really, really immersive wellness experience.
I'm pretty sure I know who that is.
Mike, I've brought you a Gumby Slumber.
Gumby Slumber. Now that sounds dangerous.
They can be. This is the resort's signature cocktail, and it is a blend of fresh fruit juices and a pretty healthy pour of rum.
Oh. Alicia, I've been thinking about the design story here. And yes, there's been aesthetic design, for sure, that we talked about, but I think this is really what the design is. It's the experience.
I couldn't agree more. You know, the resort team was really intentional in creating spaces just like the one we're in now, where guests can just enjoy nature and the lapping of the waves, the rustling of the wind in the trees.
Even those little deer, what's their story?
The key deer. Yeah. So those are native to the Florida Keys, and they swim over to Little Palm from Big Pine Island.
Really? I didn't know deer could even swim.
Most people don't, and they are so adorable.
Now, we've been filming all day. I don't think we've filmed one of your guests. And it's a full house as well, isn't it? It's a busy island today.
Yeah, we're completely sold out, which means there are 60 guests on island.
I was looking out of the corner of my eye, and I do see what you mean. There's some pretty high-profile people here.
Well, wait a minute. Tell me who you saw.
My lips are sealed.
That's the spirit. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
Everybody knows that Bostonians take their place in American history very seriously. Raffles does a wonderful job of creating a new, luxurious, and modern environment while still feeling authentic to the original history of the city.
Every time I'm in Boston, I can't help but feel the history all around me. And at Raffles Boston, it's such a good example of what happens when you take an ultra-luxury hotel and you root it in the sensibilities of a place as storied as this.
Hi, Will.
Hey, so good to see you.
You too.
So I've known that Raffles has done some amazing work in Asia, but I've never heard about them being here in the US.
This is a city of many, many firsts, so we really look to Boston for our concept. And one of our favorite things was the Arboretum, the first botanical garden in the United States. And so you'll see throughout our entire design, nature throughout. Which,
you know, when you look at an amazing building like this, I know it takes more than just one designer to have done it.
yeah, no, that's a good point. And there's an amazing group of designers that work together for the whole building.
Well, it takes a village, so I'd love to see how it all came together.
Yeah, let's go.
Cool. Wow, what an amazing entrance. But I'll tell you, my eye goes straight to that wall.
Yeah, so this was a big part of our inspiration. We spent a lot of time in the neighborhood, and there's these wonderful window boxes everywhere, and so that's our inspiration. These are live plants that go the full height of this vertical experience. Boston is referenced throughout the entire design. Even in the herringbone flooring, you'll see the cobblestone inspiration there. We also have this beautiful ironwork throughout the building.
And by the way, this wallpaper, this isn't from Boston, is it?
So that was made by MJ Atelier. It's actually referencing Singapore and the Northeast.
There's art all over this place.
Yeah, so Kevin Berry Art Consultants did an amazing job. There are hundreds of pieces of art throughout the entire hotel that really get to our concept.
Okay, are all the rooms like this?
This one is remarkable. This is the presidential suite.
I mean, I can already see a lot of the themes you were talking about. You have copper, I see a Federalist style sort of being expressed here.
We based the design of this suite on Paul Revere's Midnight Ride. So you can see it in the inky blue of the sofa, you can see it in a lot of the stones that we chose because they feel like mist and fog. And what was really wonderful is that we got to collaborate with all these amazing artisans. So for instance, ice rugs, like these are stunning hand-tufted carpets. They're in every single room. They're in the public space. There's another group named Credible Group that did the beautiful sofas and all the upholstered pieces. And then on top of it, Sani Harto made this absolutely gorgeous luggage bench that you open up to reveal your coffee maker. They really added a level of detail that is unusual for a project like this.
Look, with a room like this, I might never leave.
Okay, well you do that, I'm gonna be at the bar.
Deal. Design is often synonymous with the word balance, and this place has that in spades.
Thank you, Will. I totally agree. We were very conscious of a building of this size and its presence in the city, its presence on Copley Square.
It's one thing how it looks from the street, but out here, all I see are amazing views everywhere.
Designing an all-glass building, you really want to take advantage of the views. The reason why we brought the Sky Lobby up to the 17th floor is because the views from here are spectacular. Behind this singular glass building, there's 4 different types of glazing: clear glass and opaque colored glass. And so early on, we started working with ES windows. We've been incredibly happy with how it looks.
It feels like it's been here forever.
Yeah, thank you.
Raffles is one of the oldest hospitality brands in the world. The Singapore Sling was invented at Raffles Singapore in 1919, so really an incredible legacy brand.
What are some of the design considerations that went into creating this space?
I mean, we wanted to create a great room. And so where we started was really looking to Boston for inspiration. We wanted this to really feel of the place. And so we looked to the classic architecture that exists within Boston, and that was our starting point. And so there's elements that have longevity, like the travertine. This is carved stone that's around the space. All of this was made in Verona. The bar top is actually sculpted out of stone as well. And then another one of those elements that's a bit more unexpected is the bar cabinet. And so this is kind of our take on kind of a classic 50s bar cabinet, but kind of supersized.
That's amazing. And so all this stuff is custom?
Yeah, everything in the space was custom designed by our studio. The banquettes, obviously, the tables, obviously, but chairs, lighting, all of it.
Well, I love when design is custom, but it seems like it's always been there and should always be there.
Yeah, this is it. This is the idea.
Creative collaboration can be really challenging, but it can also be really rewarding.
Yeah, I mean, I loved being a part of this project. It's such a great one. And not only was the project itself so wonderful, but be able to work with TAT, Paolo, Rockwell, super special.
And we feel very fortunate. We're involved the entire 13-year period. And to have us work on it before all these great designers come on board, to have it come off this integrated, it's fantastic.
I mean, this really was an incredible collaboration. I mean, we couldn't be more proud.
Agreed. And by the way, I see a drink here.
Yes. And so I'm having a Singapore Sling. So
Cheers, everyone.
Great job, everyone.
Great job.
At any given point in time or point on the compass, you'll find the world's greatest cruise liners on their way or docked at an exotic seaport. Here in Hong Kong, we find none other than the Queen Elizabeth, and I've been given an access all area pass to check out her latest makeover. Apparently, it's fit for a queen.
We are lucky to have this amazing legacy and heritage to draw from. It's such a huge responsibility to be the custodian of the legacy. So when we do big projects like this, it's just fantastic to see that all come to life.
Now, I am fascinated to work out when a ship is travelling around the world and your design team is based in London, how does all that work?
I mean, this is one of the fabulous things. The refit this time was done in Singapore. We have this amazing team of people, including the crew of the ship. We really do kind of take the ship apart and put it all back together again.
And how long did it take?
Yeah, it takes 14 days. So,
no way.
Yeah.
14 days, you did the whole makeover.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep that in mind when you're having a look at some of the massive transformations happening here.
So here we are, Pete, in the garden lounge. We're kind of in the middle of the ship. This space is really a great space for relaxing, but it's really dominated by this fabulous artwork by an artist called Mr. Brainwash.
So this is like an old English glass house, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely. It's got that
with
real
a bit of
conservatory orangery
Yes.
feel. And then the punk is kind of a bit surprising, right?
It is.
Yeah. So getting around the ship is really important, helping people to kind of navigate their way around. And believe it or not, we use carpets to help people navigate.
Right.
So this fabulous Art Deco carpet, they're different colours for different parts of the ship. And so then guests can see at a glance kind of where they are around the ship, and it helps them to navigate, yeah.
Making over a significant piece of naval architecture requires that balance between engineering and design. In terms of the internal fit out though, that responsibility was left to SMC in London.
Liz, what is your process? I'm keen to know. Does it start here in the London studios?
It does start here when we get the brief from the client, and then we like to get on board. We like to do a walkthrough of the whole vessel.
That's what this is here a few years ago,
Absolutely. This is some footage that we took when we were on board. But as we walked through, a lot of the furniture was very similar. So we were thinking about maybe making the seating a little bit more eclectic, but with Cunard likes to constantly be enhancing its brand, but it's still always looking backwards, always looking to its heritage, which is very, very important.
What was your big idea? Did you have a main concept?
Okay, so when Cunard approached us, it was just as Queen Anne was being launched, their brand new ship. And we'd read an article that there was to be a new captain, but it was to be the first female captain that Cunard had had in its fleet. And she was to wear a uniform designed by the first female master tailor in Savile Row. And we were like, why don't we do a celebration of the female within the heritage of Cunard?
I mean, ships are she's.
Absolutely. All vessels, all ships are she's. Sailors for centuries have always referred to them as she because they have a protective role, they felt secure in them and safe. So they're always a figurehead, graceful, elegant, very feminine.
Georgia, Sue, let's drill down on the garden lounge. And I read somewhere that Kew Gardens was an inspiration.
Yeah, absolutely. Kew Gardens was hugely inspirational to us with this space, especially with its importance to the history of British botany and their use of key pioneering female botanists.
So we picked up on using the well-known British company Morgan Furniture and gone for a mid-century sturdy frame that was finished in a lovely black. And then also they look really punchy against the beautiful illustrations on the fabrics. The style of the illustration was really key as well because it very much evokes the feeling of travel in that bygone era.
I can see you two lay awake thinking about this. Do you think the guests appreciate this attention to detail?
I'm not sure that they pick up on the nuance of the detail, but I definitely think they appreciate the overall vibe of the space.
It's definitely that attention to detail that helps the space to feel harmonious and really helps a guest to feel comfortable within it, definitely.
Okay, Pete, I'm going to show you one of my favourite spots. Welcome to the Golden Lion pub.
Katie's from the north in Newcastle. What makes this an old English pub in your eyes?
So I think the decor, right, is very traditional. So we've got lovely leather, deep upholstered seating, dark wood furniture. It feels really cozy. It's great on a sea day to sit and watch the world go by, but then on an evening it really comes to life. So we'll have a live band, kind of like a traditional pub band.
Yeah.
Darts, pub quiz. So it feels really an authentic space. Welcome to the Royal Court Theatre.
Wow, this is an impressive space.
What we're really trying to do with this space is really recreate the kind of experience that you're going to get on Broadway or the West End in London.
This is like royal boxes at sea.
Yes. Having a theatre of such quality means we can get really great talent on board to perform. So for example, when we do our Miami sailings, when we operate the Caribbean, we're going to have a Broadway star on each of our voyages.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, I think this theatre runs over 3 decks and can seat up to 800 people.
Yeah, it means we can kind of have half of the ship in the theatre. We generally run 2 performances every day, which means everyone on the ship gets to experience it. Okay, so Pete, I really want to show you this space. It is called the Commodore Club, a very famous place on any Cunard ship, but on Queen Elizabeth, very special.
Now that is pretty special, right?
Yeah.
This is now the mouth of Hong Kong Harbour.
Absolutely, and what a great view, right? So I think, you know, if we were leaving port, going into port, it's really the best place to be, to sit, just to look at the fantastic views.
Oh, this is high tea on the Queen Elizabeth.
Here we are, fantastic. So this space, Pete, is reserved for our grills guests. It's a private space where you can take afternoon tea and you can have a cocktail before dinner, and we've got a concierge here as well to help our grills guests to make the most of their time on board so they can book experiences.
From a design perspective, everywhere you go on the ship, whatever level you want, you get a different sort of experience. And here it's almost like being inside a little jewel box.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
it's meant to feel
oculus.
really intimate and opulent as well. So I think we've really achieved that with this space.
Tell me about getting that balance right between legacy, honouring Queen Elizabeth and the history of this ship, but also turning it into a modern cruise liner.
The amazing thing about having been in business for 185 years is that we are constantly evolving. People talk about how we're modernising, for example. We're constantly modernising. We've been modernising for 185 years. This is what we do. If you want to use the word modernise, but it's really just how we do business.
With respect to the past.
Absolutely, yeah.
The Four Seasons New York downtown for me represents an amazing stage to celebrate global design influences to really inform a coherent luxury experience.
If there's one thing I know about Manhattan, it's that the only constant is change. And where the most change is happening right now is in Lower Manhattan. Since 9/11, this place has completely reinvented itself. And smack bang in the middle of all of this is the Four Seasons New York downtown.
Good morning. Well, thank you. Michael.
Hey Mike, welcome to Four Seasons Hotel New York downtown.
Fantastic. Now, this hotel has been very much part of the big rebuild.
You know, it has. I mean, you know, we're very proud to be part of the rebuild, rebirth, redevelopment of downtown New York. It's been a long time coming. There's been so much change in this area. You know, whether it's restaurants moving in, celebrity chefs opening up new outlets, cultural attractions, shopping, but more importantly, people are calling this home. Lots of development, lots of residential development. You know, we just couldn't be prouder to support the community down here.
You know, I get West Village, I get East Village and the whole Midtown area with Broadway and all. I'm not sure I've got a handle on downtown.
You know, downtown's really, it's a collection of neighborhoods, and I like to think of it, you know, as more our guests are exploring the neighborhoods below 14th Street. So it's a lot of Soho, Meatpacking, Lower East Side, Tribeca, and of course now the redevelopment of the Seaport, Brooklyn, it's all at the doorstep.
And a lot of those people that have come here, they end up in this hotel.
They do. Thankfully, a lot of people call this home. We have so many guests from overseas, so many guests from across the country, and just people who come for staycations as well. We have a very nice clientele. We're happy that we're part of the community.
Now, Michael, this is one of your lovely suites.
This is the Empire Suite, Mike. This was the first suite we designed with this, bold color aesthetic and really the first to start transforming the hotel. So the designer on this was Tara Bernard out of London. And now we're working with local designer Bill Rooney on some other suites, including additional suites with kitchens, because we get a lot of requests for long-term stays in the hotel as well.
Okay, interesting. That's a development in this part of town.
People stay in hotels for various reasons, and you'd be amazed how many requests we get for people to stay beyond a week, sometimes beyond a month at a time.
Now, going back to the designers, you seem to switch out the designers a lot. You work with a number of them.
So we do, because being part of Four Seasons, we have access to a plethora of designers around the world working on various projects at any one time.
Michael, I feel like I've stepped into a Paris moody cool bar.
It's funny you say that, Mike. So this is cut by Wolfgang Puck, and it was actually designed by a French designer, Jacques Garcia.
Ah, there you have it. And you guys really led that whole celebrity chef movement in this part of town.
I think as the redevelopment happened downtown, there was not a lot of celebrity chefs per se, and I don't think there was, a lot of residential, a lot of people living in this area. But as things have changed, you've seen a lot more celebrity chefs come in. But not only celebrity chefs, just some great New York chefs who've made downtown home for their establishments and just, helping serve the community.
Thomas, something I've learned filming this show is an Insta moment is really important in the design of a hotel.
Indeed, our ambition is always to create memories that our guests can cherish. And we have a lot of weddings here. And the reason for them to choose the Four Seasons downtown is to be able to actually have their photo taken on the grand staircase.
Not surprising. Okay, so the design works.
It does.
Now, who's this little guy?
Ruski, come. This is our mascot, Ruski. Here to cheer up our guests and our employees and myself.
Oh, hello, super cute.
Thank you very much.
Now you have gone with a powerhouse of influential designers here.
Yes, indeed. The intention was to really bring art in Tribeca and have a collective of well-known designers that would understand New York, Tribeca, and find the people that would best be able to recreate a luxury environment.
What a fabulous brief. And then speaking of fabulous, look at this.
Thank you. This is a unique piece also from a Japanese artist, very well known. His name is Hiroshito Sawada. The intention of this piece was to recreate a skyscraper that you would see in the skyline of New York, upside down. With the light coming through, at times it feels almost like a waterfall coming through the lobby, which is really a delightful piece to have in this hotel.
Sophie, you were commissioned by Jabu Puschelberg to create something rather dramatic in the lobby here.
What I do is I create singular materials for interior architecture. I bring emotion to spaces using rich textures, colors, light.
And this is what we're talking about, these rather fabulous panels.
When you're looking at the number 23 of our signature collection.
Oh, this is it here, this is a sample? Yeah.
It's a woven metal.
Woven metal?
Woven metal. It's made with stainless steel and silver enameled copper. It's made in France, in our own facility. It's a proprietary process. We do it bespoke and made to measure.
Yeah, well, Sophia, I can't stop looking at it. When I walk past it, it kind of shimmers in the light.
It's because it's an indémodable design.
Well, what's that?
It means timeless design.
Timeless, yes. Oh, I agree. I mean, it was installed some time ago.
10 years ago.
It looks like it was installed yesterday.
Yeah, that's right. The way it has been designed, the lines, the vertical lines, and also the beautiful pieces of art you have here in the lobby.
Yeah.
And it makes a very nice ensemble. Yes. It's theatrical.
Totally theatrical. It elevates the space. It really just pops.
Yeah, thank you. Merci.
A lot of the change going on out there is by design. And that can also be said for the Four Seasons New York downtown.
We hope you've enjoyed our look at some of the hottest design hotel experiences from around America and abroad. Join us next time for more breathtaking design vacation destinations on Hotels by Design. To learn more about special offers or to book any of the hotels, resorts or experiences featured in this season, go to bydesign.global.